welcome back. Today I've got another fantastic recipe for you for a Greek style flatbread or Greek flavored flatbread. A lot of people will refer to this as focaccia. That's fine too. It's just really good. Today's recipe is all about the Greek inspired flavors, and by that I mean olive oil, tomato, onion, oregano, Kalamata olives, all placed on top of this beautiful dough that's going to get baked in the oven. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So to start us off with this, I will tell you this recipe, the hardest thing about this is getting the focaccia or our flatbread to actually a nice, decent and shape that you could be proud to serve, which is like a rectangular or a square. And in this case, we'll start us off by first preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or I don't know, whatever the hell that is in Celsius. And from there, we're gonna use a 9x13 rectangular cooking sheet or baking sheet for this, which works out great, and a few basic ground rules. First, rule number one, always use flour or it's gonna get sticky and gooey and gross and it's just gonna be not fun. So let's get started. I'm gonna take some all-purpose white flour and very simply just spread it around your board or whatever it is you're working on. In this case, I'm gonna put it all over my baking sheet, my cookie sheet. Number two, I've got some nice dough here, and what you really wanna do is very simply just start kneading it in a way in your hand, folding it into itself, just like that. And from this point here, nothing to it, right? Very easy. You're gonna start pulling it at the edges, and you're gonna see the dough kind of slowly starting to form itself and move around. It doesn't look very appealing right now or whatever, but that's fine. Now, again, I am no baker. I am just doing this kind of freehand, and that's the way you should be doing it as well. And what you're gonna do is basically get this dough to go into a rectangular shape, or as rectangular as you can get it. So now that our flatbread has been spread and kind of shaped into like a pretty decent rectangular shape, the next part of this is actually the fun part, which is dressing it up. And in terms of dressing it up, it's very simple. We're gonna start with a few basics. Number one is the extra virgin olive oil. You just wanna lightly drizzle it on top, nothing too complicated. So you're gonna need maybe a couple of tablespoons or so, give or take, on top of this. Second of all, we're gonna take our sliced tomato and very slowly just start slicing up your tomato, nothing complicated, and thin slices. All right, our tomato has been sliced up. I'm just gonna place my tomato across the top evenly, or as evenly as you can get it. Perfect, just like that. Nothing complicated at all so far. Next is our onion. I'm just gonna slice up some onion real quick. And again, nothing fancy, doesn't have to be anything complicated. You're just gonna basically take this and slowly just place it over our focaccia just like that. Now that our tomatoes and our onions are in place, the next part of this, and I think I got some extra onion here, so I'll just throw it in, what the hell, are Kalamata olives, like there's any other kind. But the point is, these Kalamata olives have the pits in them. I'll tell you a little trick now in terms of removing the pit from olives or anything else like cherries or something else. You lay them flat down on your cutting surface and just squeeze them with your thumb. And when you squeeze them, they just open up just like that. Hence the pit. What could I tell you? So start removing the pits, tear them apart, just let them drop wherever they go. The really special thing about these Kalamata olives specifically, and why I'm so attached to them, is because these are actually from my own trees in Greece. I planted these trees myself about 7 or 8 years ago, and over the last few years they've really been producing well, and I'm really excited. And it's kind of a big deal for me considering I'm from Canada, and you know, all of a sudden I've gone over there and I'm into the olive and the olive oil thing. Really, 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 really cool. So now our olives are now on. The next part of this is oregano, Greek oregano no less. Dry is preferred, and just sprinkle a little bit on top, just lightly. And in this case, the oregano, literally less is more type of deal. So you don't need to like drown the thing with the dry oregano. It'll work out just great, just a little bit. And now, lastly, and the most important part is the feta. So here I have about 100 grams of feta that I crumble myself, and it's a shtick that I have to get your own feta and crumble it, and don't get the pre-crumbled stuff. It just doesn't taste as good, and the flavor will definitely not be the same. So take a little crumbled feta, just like that, over this. This is basically going to taste like a Greek salad, including the bread. So we're going to put our feta down there just like that. Let's go a little heavy on the feta. Perfect. And this feta will get all melted and gooey and bubbly and perfect. Let me wash my hands and I'll be right back. So now that our feta is being placed on top, I'm going to take a little more oregano, just a little bit, just enough, just for a kiss of that oregano flavor on top. And lastly now, another light drizzle of our Greek extra virgin olive oil. And that's perfect, just like that. I'm like loving this. I am absolutely loving this. Now this will go into our 350-degree oven for about 25 to 35 minutes. You want to keep an eye on this because depending on your oven, if it's just a standard or convection or whatever, it will need to be kept an eye on. So just look out for it, throw it in there, and in about half an hour, give or take, we'll see how this turned out. So it's been about an hour, I have to tell you that. It's basically here, it took about an hour because the dough was a little thicker, but that's totally cool. I said 35 to 45 minutes, give or take. Well, this one gave. But anyway, you can see here it's absolutely done to perfection. I mean, my kitchen smells basically like they should bottle this stuff. It should be like a perfume or something. That's how good this actually smells. And you can see it's a little bit of flour at the bottom. We can just kind of pull it away from the pan here. And I'm going to try and do this without burning myself again. And this is perfect. Now, what I recommend as well is a pizza cutter. Believe me when I tell you, a pizza cutter will make your life that much easier. Look at that. Actually, I'm just going to leave this over here, just like that. This is like, wow. It's somewhere between a pizza and focaccia, but totally Greek inspired. The olive oil, everything is just like all the flavors. The feta is actually crumbled and it's being kind of like brown and melted. The onions, the oregano. Wow. So basically, something like this, you just attack with a pizza cutter. Straight down. And well, it's perfect, absolutely perfect. And then you just go like this. Now, there's no rules on how to cut this. I'm just gonna cut myself a little piece just to try. For you guys, of course, right? So, let me grab a small plate here, because I really just wanna just get a little sampling of this. And look at that. The bread is absolutely done to perfection. You can see here, it's absolutely fantastic. Light, airy. You don't want to like work the shit out of the dough because that's no good. It'll be like a brick. Light and airy. All the toppings on top. The Kalamata olive is very nice. I think what would make this even a little bit better, this is where the good stuff comes into place. If you've got like some really good extra virgin olive oil, which will probably be Greek, but anyway, just drizzle some a little bit on top, just like that. Just a little bit. Just that kiss of like raw olive oil flavor is going to be the most amazing thing. So, I know. Oh my freaking God. This is so worth the upper burnt lip. Absolutely delicious. Perfect. We didn't add any salt into this at all. Excuse me. We didn't add any salt to this at all. The brininess and all the salt flavor came from the feta, the olives, the onion, the oregano, and the tomato. Bang on. Absolutely bang on. So my friends, this is all there is to making Greek flatbread. Whether you make the dough yourself or you get the store-bought stuff, totally cool. It works both ways. The main thing here are the toppings. And these toppings basically, to me, say Greek village salad or the choriatiki salad. Tomatoes, onions, olive oil, oregano. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that's all there is to this recipe. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you try this. You can have this for dinner. You can have this as an appetizer. You could have this as part of your buffet spread. Totally cool, something different. Everybody loves this. It's vegetarian, so you got to make it for those people too. But anyway, so that's it for this episode on how to make Greek style flatbread or focaccia. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I had a blast making it. Until next time, I'm Ken. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.